Have you ever walked through a haunted house, gotten screamed at by a maniac with a chainsaw, and wondered, what is that guy actually thinking? Well, this year I decided to find out. I took a job as a haunt actor to see if I could survive the Halloween season from the other side of the walls. I'm going to show you what it's really like, break down the different types of victims I scared, and tell you if it's worth minimum wage to act like a psychopath. I've always had a fascination with haunted house attractions. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to go into the spook houses and scary attractions. From a teenager on, I've been to pretty much every haunted attraction in the Hudson Valley of New York. I always enjoyed these, but had a lingering thought. What would it be like to work in one as a haunt actor? Well, this season I set out to do it, and in this video, you will find out what it's like to work the entire Halloween season in a haunted attraction. I'll also answer the question of whether you should do it or not and address some of the positives and negatives of working at a haunted attraction, also known as a haunt. Getting the job was suspiciously easy. I saw a help wanted ad, went back and forth on text message, walked in, and because I'm a large guy who already looks a bit crazy, they basically threw an apron at me and said, "You got the job." The only catch was the schedule. I play in a metal band, so I had to tell them up front, I can scare people, but I can't miss a gig that I already have scheduled. Surprisingly, they were cool with it, but because of the band schedule, I missed orientation. That meant I was walking into opening night completely blind. I showed up about an hour before showtime with no clue what I'd be doing. They showed me the room I'd be working in. It was a cannibal kitchen, pig heads, body parts, the works. For the costume, they pointed out some makeup and said, "Figure it out." I decided to pay homage to Otis Driftwood from House of a Thousand Corpses. The funny thing is, I didn't need much help. I'm already a big dude with wild eyes, a long beard, and dreads down to my knees. I realized I didn't need a rubber mask or crazy makeup. I just needed an upside-down cross on my forehead and a really bad attitude. I got to my room in the haunt with a few minutes to spare before opening time and realized something. I had no idea what I was doing or how I was going to scare people. I looked around, I saw some large pots on the table. I picked up one of the bones that was sitting next to them and smashed the pot. It was decently loud, so I figured I'd hide behind the drapery on the wall, pop out, hit the pot, and say something. What to say, though? Since the character in my head was influenced by Otis Driftwood, I decided on, "This is my death factory, and you are the product." I was pretty sure that Otis said that in either House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects, and I just went with it.
This is my death factory, and you are the product.
The haunt opened, and it was kind of weird because I realized that you had no idea when someone was getting to your section of the haunt. Over time, you listen for what the noises are from the rooms before yours, but at this point, I had no clue, and I was as surprised when someone walked into my room as they were when I popped out at them. My first attempt? Terrible. I popped out, fumbled my line, and the couple just looked at me like I was trying to sell them car insurance. But by the fifth or sixth group, I found my rhythm. I stopped trying to be theatrical and started being aggressive. I slammed a pot, got right in their face, and screamed, "This is my death factory, and you are the product." That's when I realized speed and volume are the universal languages of fear. The thing that was interesting about this job is that it was almost like a stand-up comedy routine. You get to try the same thing over and over and perfect it with every response you get. Over time, I became a real menace to the point where people were trying to run through the room and running into walls and props just to get away from me. Now, you might wonder, how do I know if they were scared after they left my room? We actually have cracks in the walls where we watch the victims spill out into the hallway and out of the haunted attraction. And I saw some of the chaos. One teenager got so terrified, he threw it into reverse, ran backward into the previous room, and then ran headfirst into a wall. My favorite was Felicia and Marcy. I managed to physically separate them by stepping between them. One was stuck in the hall, one was trapped with me, and I just kept lunging at the gap between them as they tried to get back together. They were hyperventilating and screaming each other's names like a soap opera. Watching them crawl out of the exit gasping for air, that was job satisfaction. After hundreds of scares, you realize that everyone falls into one of 6 categories. The too cool guy. He's terrified, his heart is pounding, but he stares at you blankly to protect his ego. The screamer. They freak out at everything. A stiff breeze would scare them. The sprinter. Usually these are teenagers. They treat the haunt like a track meet, destroying props just to get to the exit. I like to try to stand in front of these types and make them run into me. The ostrich. They stare at their shoes. Their logic is, if I can't see the 215-pound cannibal, he isn't real. The hyenas. These people are generally skittish but laugh as a coping mechanism. And the heckler. The worst type by far. They try to touch props, ask questions, and ruin the vibe. You basically have to break character just to get them to leave. As the Halloween season goes on, you get very good at dealing with all these different types of groups and already have a strategy devised for each. So let's break down the reality. Is working in a haunt a dream job or a nightmare? Here are the ups and downs of it. The positives. First, the creative freedom was unmatched. I've heard horror stories about corporate haunts where they hand you a script and micromanage every move. Here, they let me loose. It was total improvisation, which kept it fresh every night. Second, the community. Coming from the music scene, I'm used to egos, but here, none. The cast, the managers, the owners, everyone was there for the love of the scare. It's a family atmosphere, just a very weird, blood-soaked family. And honestly, if you love Halloween, this is the ultimate hack. Usually October flies by and you get one night of spooky fun. When you work in a haunt, Halloween isn't a day, it's a lifestyle. You get to soak in that atmosphere for an entire month. Plus, if you're an extrovert like me, it's a rush. And the absolute jackpot? Seeing a friend walk into your room, having no idea you're there, and absolutely destroying them. The negatives. But it's not all fun and games. First, the commitment is real. You are signing away your social life. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night in October belongs to the haunt. If you have a band, a family, or other hobbies, balancing that schedule could be a grind. Second, the physical toll. Nobody warns you about haunt voice. I blew my vocal cords out in the first weekend screaming at customers. You have to learn to project from your diaphragm or you won't make it to Halloween. Third, the money. Let's just say, don't quit your day job. It's minimum wage, you're doing this for the experience, definitely not for the paycheck. Finally, the awkwardness. People don't talk about the downtime. When the crowd is light, you're just a grown man standing alone in the dark in a silence that gets very weird, very fast. You start inventing games just to keep your sanity until the next victim walks in. The verdict. So the big question, would I do it again? In a heartbeat, despite the lost weekends and wrecked voice, the adrenaline rush is worth it. If I can make the schedule work, I'll be back at this specific haunt next year because of that family vibe. If you're watching this and thinking about applying, just do it. It's a fantastic way to meet new people, celebrate the season, and it's the only place where you can act like a total psychopath with zero repercussions. If you enjoyed this look behind the screams and want to follow me on other weird journeys, make sure to hit like and subscribe to B-Man and Beyond.